Welcome to Aviation for Youth, your gateway to real stories, insights, and inspiration from leaders shaping the skies in the travel world. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Aviation for Youth, the podcast where we bring you conversations with travel and aviation professionals from around the globe to inspire the next generation of industry leaders. I'm your host, Ali Beck, and I'm honored today to welcome a guest whose career spans of 4 decades of airport and airline operations. From opening new British Airways stations across Italy to directing terminal and movement operations at Milan Bergamo Airport, he has led teams through every corner of aviation, from check-in halls to control towers. In this episode, we'll explore his journey through leadership, crisis management, and collaboration between airlines and airports, and we'll hear his voice and advice for young professionals hoping to one day run the world's busiest terminals. Whether you're dreaming of a career in the skies or curious about what happens behind the scenes in travel, I think you're going to find this conversation really inspiring. So let's jump right in. Welcome, Enrico. It's a big honor having you here today.
Good. Thank you very much. Well,
Yes.
I just started from the very bottom when I was something like 25 years old after the graduations. I studied in the US and I have joined British Airways and stayed with British Airways with 22 years. Then actually I started from the very bottom, and I say 7 years spent with cargo clerk. I still remember my first position was junior cargo clerk. And then I started to understand the whole aviation from that point onward until I have been transferred to the passenger side and attended training courses related with dispatchers and customer service area. One common denominator, and that I usually highlight every time I talk about my experience, is that I have to be very, very thankful to, I call it Mama British Airways. Mama British Airways taught me taught me my work, actually, as from the very beginning. The common denominator was training, 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 and training. I still remember that there was some training which we Italians were supposed, how to open a cargo door. A belly of the cargo door is simple, no? It can be taught in a very simple way by someone else, by a cargo loader that is opening the door of the aircraft. No, in British Airways, you have to go to London, attend a training course, which maybe lasts for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and they teach you how to open the cargo door of a 757, I remember, Boeing 757, or the Concorde, for example. They teach you, they give you a license to open the door of the Concorde. So the common denominator and really the main streamlines that I found in this training, in this experience of this 22 years was actually a continuous training, continuous development in order to reach certain positions. Of course, there were soft standards and hard standards. So there were technical training, but also behavioral training. And at the end of the day, this was what it really helped me to go forward. And I still remember that in a soft standards training, one of the good hint that helped me was, of course, the main attitude toward the customers. Being in mind that we have internal customers and we have external customers. So bear in mind this, the customer, thinking about the customer is your first customer, is your colleague. We've been able to, everywhere I've been working with, to make a team, just like a family. This is the main aim that I would say that British Airways taught me. Just considering the working environment, wherever you are, a typical place where you can actually consider a small group a family, where we can help each other, and the teamwork is the main aim to succeed. This
Awesome.
is.
And what would you say, looking back at 40 years in aviation, or more or less, what moments shaped you the most as a leader?
As a leader, yes, the small groups. As I was saying, considering a small group as a team, I always found out a good experience to um, recall the way that it is a normal sport, like playing basketball, for example. You can be a very good player, like my nephew, for example, is playing in a team in Italy, and is doing very well. But you can be a very good player, but if you're not supported by the rest of the team, you're nothing. So you can be a very good team, be a very good player. So transfer it in my working environment. I always consider um, a good, precious tool to consider either the small group or a bigger group, a team where nobody is leading at that moment, but is proposing the way to do things. So, of course, it's within yourself that you're becoming a leader, the way you act and the way you treat people. If they consider you a good person, and there is a good exchange of thought and respectfulness, here is coming the leader. We study in the books that there are different management styles that are fitted in our own character. And sometimes our own character is in some way forging the style of your leadership. That means that you could be situational, you could be very flexible, you could be in certain moments very coercitive sometimes, but the name of the game is to be as flexible as possible. Actually, the management books are suggesting that the best leader would have to be a situational one, the one that could be a country club leader, like a telling, or a very coercive manager, a melting pot of all of these skills.
Okay, understood. So looking at your career, you have been the director of terminal movement and movement operations at Milan Bergamo Airport, if I'm correct.
Yes.
What does a day in the life of a director of the terminal and movement operations look like at one of Italy's busiest airports, um, from your experience?
Yes, the first meeting in the morning, we call it the first wave meeting, is the meeting that used to be called every day at 9 o'clock, knowing exactly what was the snapshot of the day, what was the first wave, which was just the very 25 aircrafts departing from Bergamo Airport in the very first part of the day. In that occasion, the meeting, which is being called the first wave meeting, is the one that is actually taking giving the picture of the whole day, how much how much stuff you got, the resources, the infrastructures, all the failures, the liaison also with the air traffic controllers, with the all bodies related with the airport authorities, and the main aim of the whole day is to harmonize all these aspects, harmonize it. People are coming in and they're very upset because the police doesn't have enough staff, and would have been having a lot of queues around the arrivals, for example, delays, slot strikes, weather. lack of de-icers during the winter time. We have a lot of ice, a lot of snow in the north of Italy, and we all the operations are slowing down. So the critical first wave meeting is the one that is giving the real glimpse of what is going to happen. And my aim is to, in one word, in one verb, is harmonize all these complexities. Then throughout the day, there are meetings also with other authorities like Corps of Finance, Customs, airlines, tour operators, a lot of visits from outside, and so on. So it's going to be a very, it always has been a very full day. And the common denominator, as I said, is in my position, as I started when I left British Airways and joined first Verona Airport and then Bergamo Airport. My mobile always have been switched on, H24. This is very much important, as I will be telling you later. That is one of the most important issue that I found, that if you are available all the time, people are available for you too, in something like in a reciprocal field. So that's going to be always been a full day. That means that my working day had not finished at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, but could actually last for the whole night. Wow. We enjoy also, there are some emergency situations that can actually happen at 2300, while maybe I'm watching a movie at home. So any moment, anytime, you are available. And when you are available, actually, your staff appreciate your availability. This is quite important.
Yeah, I agree. And how would you, so given this whole snapshot of what you do, what your day in the life look like, how do you coordinate across different stakeholders like airlines, ground handlers, emergency services, airport staff, and even more to keep the airport running smoothly with the least amount of mistakes or you know.
Usually throughout the year, we have a certain moment, certain dates, fixed dates, where emergency rehearsals, emergency procedures will have to be carried out by law. United Nations ICAO is prescribing all these regulations. So technically, if we set up a calendar throughout the year with all these accomplishments, we always have opportunity to invite airlines, invite bodies like customs, like civil aviation authorities, different authorities, to participate to these rehearsals. So that's a very good opportunity to amalgamate different bodies which cannot go along by themselves. So this is why we are trying all the time to fix some calendars dates and fix some meetings and some exercises related not only with emergencies, but also, for example, how you call it, the birds activities, for example. You know that bird strike is quite an important issue for an airport. So if we set up a calendar informing all the bodies to participate to this campaign, like a FOD campaign, birds activities, the bird strikes, the bird control activities, so on. if you invite all the airlines or some of the airlines and some of the bodies, you actually involve them to be attentive, to be participating in the normal community, in the community like an airport. For the airlines, for example, I usually take advantage when I meet them is to, once we sign the contract, usually we sign the contract every couple of years, we just set up a service level agreement. So once you sign up a service level agreement, you show the airport around, and that's the occasion to negotiate, see the activities, see the grounds, observing all the difficulties or the hindrances we may have. Sometimes the airlines are demanding things that, activities that I cannot meet. So the best way is to show them around. And of course, in this occasion is the best way to sign up a real genuine service level agreement, or which is very close to what is achievable and is realistic, a service level agreement. And if the airline is looking around and see how many slots you've got, how many stands you've got, and all the opportunities and hindrances, the service level agreement will be very close to the reality and can be actually achievable by both parties. This is why we want to involve them all the time. Specific performance, we usually put the key performance indicator into the service level agreement, and in this occasion we just can actually link it to the contract with the airlines that we have.
Okay, understand. My next question would be about your leadership in the aviation industry. So, when managing large airport teams across terminals, what's your leadership philosophy? What keeps you driving and what keeps you, motivated to lead and, motivate other people in your team, big team?
Okay, the first ingredient that I always mention, and I had mentioned when I actually, Mama British Airways helped me to attend, actually contributed to attend a 2-year course in Oxford Brookes University, a management course that lasted a couple of years. So it helped a lot to give you a really good base for management. But and I still remember the first ingredient that we used to have and to used to expose is within yourself, your character, your personality. And it is called emulation. Emulation is the name of the game for me. If you act genuinely and the staff understands that you are really genuine and you really care of your own team, they really perform very well, and they will be always at your back. This is the main. So the emulation means it's just going around the airport. Sometimes when I'm just really fed up of meetings and everything, or budgets, or just writing down reports or anything, I go down to the tarmac and talk to the loaders. I go there where the changing room, and I talk to them, and I just trying to understand what they want and what they say and what their weaknesses. Sometimes we do laugh. Sometimes we are very serious. Sometimes they really put me on pressure. But the thing is that I'm present. This is the most important. And the ingredient, as I was answering to your question, is what is the first ingredient? Emulation, and leading by example. Just give an example. Just being there all the time. and trying to instill in your partners, in your colleagues, in your customers, that ingredient that I said, which is emulation, but is also letting them know that you really care. This is the ingredient of the motivation. And if they know that you really mean it, if you're really genuine, they follow you up. I tell you, it's something that I really remember very well in all the moments, even in the difficult moments. I still remember one disruption which lasted the year before I retired, which was 2016, the 4th of August, 2016. We had a Boeing 737, which had overrun and went out of the runway. It was an incident which could have been really bad, but unfortunately there were no fatalities at all. Just the captain and the first officer. Was a cargo flight, just were saved, and but the aircraft actually went out of the airport. It just broke the localizer. It just landed. Landed outside almost of the runway, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning. A very stormy weather, and we were lucky. Unfortunately, once we managed to fix, well, to isolate the incident, we had to close the airport. Closing an airport, that meant that we had something like 4,000 passengers being stuck at the airport of Bergamo in the very early morning. So the first waves have actually been cancelled, and we had to deal with the knock-on effect for the whole day, because many flights were being cancelled. We had all the passengers completely disrupted at the airport, and I was so proud that I was sitting at the emergency response room. But I remember that all the staff, even people that were off duty, that were coming from home, helping us. Well, I get moved if I still remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, people that are really very close to you. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
But it's emotional. You see, once they know that you really care, people are really. And I still remember that in something like 5, 6, 7 hours, we were able to disperse all the passengers, to protect them. Ticketing counters was completely, assaulted, but we were having staff that were working very hard, and they were making it very good. And another thing that I would like to highlight, this is, I am retired, and I don't have I don't have to be feared or scared, or any implication that I might have saying this. But my big problem, the hardest problem I always had, was with the unions, with the
Yeah.
meeting with the unions.
Yeah.
Uh, I know that they are very important. I know that we've been trying to be very tactful with them, but sometimes it was very hard to handle. And I still remember one thing, that talking about emulation, talking about motivation, talking about being aware of being in a team. On my budget, this is the secret, probably, of the podcast, of the whole podcast. That probably it's a unique thing. I always have budgeted part of my money, of course, of the company, of the airport operator, to reward staff beyond what it was due. That means that you deal with unions. It is called the budget, no, the premio di produzione, we say in Italian. It's the agreed bonus of the year. You know, everybody's got the agreed bonus of the year. I used to keep my money. Well, the money budget is something like 20,000 euros, something like this. And once it happened, something really important. For example, that maybe be reported someone that was doing something really special, like working beyond the rule book, staying over time, did something really special. I was calling him directly and gave him something like, okay, this is 1,000 euros for you, or 500 euros, one off. For what? Because I noticed that you deserved it because you did that job very well, or at least maybe it was maybe something real small, or something that was related to the fact that somebody was called from home because there was a sickness or something. Maybe just 200 euros. I give you 200 euros, you go out with your wife and have a good dinner. And this thing, this rewarding scheme, which was actually appreciated by my president, by the chairman, was not appreciated by the unions because they couldn't, because it was something that it was something like it was in between the bonus, which was actually being granted to everyone, but it was flattening all the rewards for something that it was actually addressed to the people that really deserved it in that specific moment. This is what I call it motivation. That is beyond the rule book. It's something that you do more than it was due. So, as a matter of fact, that I retired, I'm living here in Canary Islands, Tenerife, lovely place, but I go back and forth, have a couple of months in Italy. And every time I pass through Bergamo, I'm very much pleased that people still, after 7 years, people are still waving at me, and they call at me, they recognize me, and you're not living only with papers, but we live with emotions. This is, I thought, it was good to tell you that as an example for motivating people and professionals for all the youth they are very much fond of aviation or any other field. If you treat people, like genuinely, and you care of them, they reply to you. I know that there is say I just put a note on it somewhere. Leaders who do not listen, and I was a very good listener, eventually will be surrounded by people who have nothing to say.
Yeah.
But if you are a good listener, people start to open their heart, open their availability. So they go beyond the rule book very easily if they have a reward, which is not always a reward in money, but is a reward of recognition. Full stop. I'm sorry. I had delayed. I have prolonged too much.
Yeah, and I agree. You've answered a lot of my questions that I've actually have on my screen. So thank you for this. And one last question I have for you that I have in my notes. After decades in aviation of what you experienced in your leadership, what are you most proud of to close off this interview? What are you most proud of? What would say one of your biggest accomplishments was in this industry, and what would you like the youth listening to our podcast to know?
Yes, it's one specific issue that I brought to Bergamo, and I brought also within other homologous colleagues of mine in Rome, which is I call it in one word, unruly passengers. We've been able to highlight the importance of dealing and setting up certain regulations within all the airports in Italy, so that with this issue had been discussed, and I raised it myself. I was the first one to raise this issue, which was becoming very, very serious. And I'm talking about 10 years ago, something like this, 10, 12 years ago. And every time I notice that something happens around the globe of different passengers which are unruly, not only on the ground, on the air, everywhere, unruly, are very disruptive, very aggressive with the staff, with the pilots, with the cabin crew, with everyone. It's a very, very delicate point, very delicate issue that I brought it up to Asso Aeroporti. Asso Aeroporti is the association that links all the airports of Italy. And it has been highlighted and it's been dealt and it's been proposed a rule associated with, of course, with the airport authority, which is the police officers or police authority, that actually working with them very closely would have diminished and protect our staff from passengers which can be unruly. Unfortunately, it still happens. And it still happens. But at least we have to be happy that the focus is the trying to diminish the occasions, being focused on that. So I was one of the first one that had raised this issue, unruly passengers.
Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing this. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. I
No,
really,
welcome, Alibek,
yeah, I
and
really appreciate your time, and I know our
thank
listeners walk
you.
away inspired by everything you shared. If you're a student or young professional interested in aviation or travel, don't forget to follow Aviation for Youth. I'm Ali
Oh,
Beck,
yeah.
and I'll see you in the next episode.